Everyone, and welcome to my Healing Through Sharing series. Today, for this episode, I have Vikki Fieldberg, and she is the owner of Space Creations. Vikki is an experienced home stylist based in Toronto, and she offers her clients a fun and friendly experience to help create a space that they'll love through an easy step-by-step process, and helping them to bring their vision to life. So thank you so much, Vikki, for taking time out of your busy schedule to chat with me. And can I have you maybe just further your introduction so that people really know, who you are and where you're coming from?
Sure. Well, thanks, Rosanna. I'm so happy to be here. It's a pleasure. I've been following you, I guess, for the last almost 6 months, and I really am truly inspired by your
Oh,
affirmations and the
thank
chakra
you.
healing. I have started my business, I guess, during the pandemic. And for me, I really want to help others really create that space that makes them feel really good in. And I believe that color and even decorating really makes a huge difference when it comes to feeling good in our space. I personally think I'm on my second life. I've been in the corporate life in marketing for like over 25 years, and I got laid off. I just felt stuck because I couldn't get that next job. So I kind of rediscovered myself. At the time, I really enjoyed teaching spin at Good Life and everything like that. So I'm a people person, and even a Weight Watchers leader. So even helping people lose weight. So I went through a self-discovery stage, and I even went into another marketing job. And it wasn't really that fun and exciting. It was very hard, grueling work. It was like 6 days a week. I was working 14 hours a day at least, and it was a huge commute. So it was just really affecting my well-being, my mental health, and I never had my life back. I never felt like I was living. I always felt like I'm just working kind of thing.
Mhm.
And I was fortunate, I would say I'm fortunate enough that that contract ended, and it was right around Christmas, right before the pandemic. So I had a trip to Portugal with a girlfriend at that time, and it really allowed me to open up my mind and think about really what I wanted to do. So literally, I went through different things. And I started going back to school. I did my digital marketing because that's what I kind of knew, but I wanted to upgrade my
Mhm.
skills.
Mhm.
And I actually redecorate my place. I didn't, I wasn't able to do it for a long time because I was working, money constraints and everything like that. And at the time, I wasn't even home a lot. So
Mhm.
during that pandemic, it really struck a chord with me to realize how important your environment is. So I just
Mhm.
redid my place. My business evolved through it. I used to post it on Facebook, just say, here's what I'm doing, and here's
Mhm.
like my process of it. And so many people commented, and I got clients out of it. Never
Wow.
even thought that I would use this as a full-time job, but it
Mhm.
began me to think about it. So I thought, huh, that could be a cool thing because I've been doing decorating all my life. My dad started when my dad, I don't know, when I was like 11 years old or 12 years old, saying,
Mhm.
hey, you can redo your room. Here's your budget kind of thing. And here's
Mhm.
like my parameters. And I did it. And then my parents thought, huh, I like what you did. And then they would always ask me questions for paint and tiles when they were renovating and stuff.
Mhm.
And then my friends kept asking me, and it's happened for the last 20 years. So
Wow.
it's been an indirect side hustle, but it's like a hobby. Now
Mhm.
I'm turning it into a business. So it's even
Excellent.
evolving as we speak. Like my launched my website, I guess last month, which took me a bit to
Mhm.
do. Starting advertising, people are starting to reach out to me, but even
Mhm.
my clientele is evolving. So it's very fascinating how everything is just, you know, um, it just unraveling. So it's like a
Yes.
puzzle to me.
And
So
you're
it's exciting.
growing. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And you're doing something that you're really passionate about because if you've been doing it, since you were a teenager, then most likely, yeah, it's kind of in your blood and you really enjoy that work. Yeah.
Yes, my Vogues were my home design, style at home and house at home, anything Canadian. But
Hmm.
then once Indigo came, it's like, wow, you can see all the European inspirations and stuff like that. And I loved
Yes.
every design show, like, you know, Co Color Confidential, Property
Right.
Brothers. Like,
Yes.
there's so many different
There's so
ones, and I
many.
still watch them and everything like that. And
Yeah.
I'm always inspired by, like, even Instagram, what other people are doing
Hmm.
and seeing how they're transforming. And it doesn't take much. It's like even your beautiful bookcase behind you and everything like
Thank
that.
you. Yeah.
It just makes a difference of how you style it. Like people don't realize how important it is because when you see something, either you love it or you hate it, right? Or
Yes.
it just doesn't make you feel good. And if that's the case, then
Hmm.
it doesn't take much to change it, but people are afraid to try or they just don't know how. So
Yeah.
even in when I was doing my own space, I literally thought about, okay, what truly mattered to me? Because at the time, I didn't even
Mhm.
realize it, but I was influenced by other past relationships. I never got
Mm.
to actually have my own style out there.
Right.
It's like it was always like, okay, I'll decorate for you. Doesn't
Yes.
really have me in it or anything like that. And I didn't realize that until I um, was single and I was
Mm.
in my place and I was looking at him thinking, oh my God, this isn't even me. Like I had
Isn't
a
it?
couple of
Yeah.
pieces, but nothing felt like my taste.
Right.
And then I had the opportunity, and it was hilarious because during the pandemic, for anybody who did home renovations, because that was really up, it
Uh-huh.
took a long time to get anything if you ordered it. I'd
Yes.
ordered a bed and I had to do it online. And I even said to the person, I said, is there any way, because it was starting to open up again, we couldn't
Hmm.
go into the showroom, but I met him in the actual like parking lot where their
Right.
delivery trucks go. And it's like, okay, let me just see. And I had to bring my color swatches with me and he brought it. And then it's like choosing it over there because for anybody who
Hmm.
buys stuff online, it's very difficult to get that true color.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
it's like even paint and everything like that, it's always good to have some type of natural light or see it in person. And then
Absolutely.
it's just
Yeah.
like waiting for it. Because I was lucky to do my couch right before the pandemic and
Hmm.
it got delivered, I think, right as it started, kind of thing. So, or right
Yeah.
before it started. So I had a good couple pieces, but it's like, okay, and then it just took a little bit to get it. And then I paint it because I've
Hmm.
always been in color, like for advertising, I've done in marketing, and
Yeah.
I've always done the Pantone colors and stuff like that. And I understand like the undertones and everything like that, and you can
Hmm.
pick it out. But it was funny. I picked out paint within a couple hours of us getting locked down.
Oh
So
my
I could say,
gosh.
because well, we at the time it was like, oh, you have 2 weeks, and I thought, okay, let me
Hmm.
just redo my kitchen kind of thing
Hmm.
and just see what I can do.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, pick some colors. I did a little bit of thinking, okay, where it's a galley kitchen, so it's a very small
Hmm.
one. How could I make it look fresh without enclosing it? But I ended up doing a pretty good job, and it was funny because I follow different paint companies too, and
Hmm.
the colors I used they mentioned how well it goes together. And it's like, oh, there you
Right.
go.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was just funny because you just like inspired about like, hey, okay, it does work and everything like that. And then it's how do
Mhm.
you upgrade your space? Because I find that so many people don't realize how easy it is to transform the look and feel of your space through color
Yes.
as well as just through different minor upgrades that doesn't have to be too much. It's not like a reno. It doesn't have to
Hmm.
cost a lot. It's just
Yeah.
thinking about, okay, what can you do? So I've even come up with a guide to help people with that because it's everything that
Excellent.
I actually did for me. And it's
Yeah.
like, you know what? It made a world of difference
Hmm.
because our mindset, I don't know, like we can go into that dark place and just have that pity party if things aren't going right in our lives,
That's right.
right?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
I think that's what happened to me when I stalled because at the end of the day, I didn't realize that I was becoming negative and jaded. And then I
Hmm.
woke up one day looked myself in the mirror and I thought, oh my gosh, I don't like who I am. So I
Or where
started
I'm
the
living or my
evolution.
space, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
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 And I just started to really do that self-discovery. So it's like
Hmm.
even the affirmations my friend told me about is what started it all. And then it's realizing, you know what? Like attracts like.
Yes.
And and that's how you evolve, I think, personally in
Yeah.
our relationships as well as our careers and stuff. And
Hmm.
it's just getting to know yourself again because
Yeah.
anytime I was in a relationship, I kind of lost my power and my voice because I let them decide what things mattered. I realized my first like real big long-term relationship, it
Mm.
lasted 15 years. I didn't even have my friends at the end of it because I got to
Wow.
lose touch. And I literally realized it saying, oh my gosh, I don't have my friends anymore. And then I
Hmm.
reached out and they're still my core like support group to this day. So that's like over, I would hate to say like 25 years ago kind of thing.
Yeah.
As
Yeah. Wow.
and my best friends from university, we still talk. We just talked yesterday and stuff that, and
Hmm.
they've been my biggest supporters in terms of like reinventing myself and stuff.
Yeah, it's so
So
important to have that foundation, right? Those people
yeah,
who you can go to and just, get just even just have a session of talking, you know. You might not even want anything. You might just want them to listen, but
yes,
they're there for you. But you mentioned something really interesting that I picked up on. So, you said how when you were working full time, you didn't have, the I guess the time maybe to decorate.
yep,
And so it wasn't until you were laid off that then you decided, hey, you know what? I have to decorate. That was in just your self-development phase, right? So you were
yeah,
finding yourself and you were finding your space. And it's kind of ironic because here you are working full time and you have money, and now you're laid off, and funds might be a little tight, but yet you're redecorating. And like you
yeah,
said, it doesn't take much, and you can do it on a budget,
yep,
which I love. And that's
yeah,
why I love like your company, because you don't have to do like a big reno to make your space your
yeah,
own.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's like just adding some color that really matters to you because
Hmm.
I put it, I always approach it where I'm asking my clients, how do you want your space to feel? Because
Yeah.
people don't realize how important when you walk into your bedroom, walking into your kitchen, your
Hmm.
living room, that color really has a huge impact. And whether you believe it or not, some people like are fascinated. I did a minor in psychology or almost, but really color
Hmm.
psychology matters. And I've
Hmm.
used it throughout advertising and everything like that. So I'm even utilizing what I've learned in school and in my job and
Hmm.
just in everywhere I go.
Yeah.
Um, and if you think about what is your favorite color and when you wear it, how do you feel? Well,
Hmm.
imagine having that like in your space. So sometimes it
Right.
could be a paint color, but it could be like a throw pillow. It could be ornaments. It could be even like a color blocking of
Yeah.
books. Like
Hmm.
you'd be surprised how all those wonderful factors has a huge impact on how you feel. And
Hmm.
then when you multiply that and having certain things into your life that matters to you, because we all have trinkets that maybe, matter to you, your grandmother gave it to you, your
Hmm.
parents, or like maybe your daughter or son like gave something for Mother's Day or something like that, and
Right.
it just
Yeah.
makes you feel happy. Well, how do
Yes.
you present that into your space that you can see every day and everything like that, just to give you that peace of mind and everything like that. And
Hmm.
I teach people how to reframe themselves too when it actually helps them to have those key pieces in their space. Like you'll build your story around it. So I still
Right.
use marketing because I think everything has a story behind it. So when you're decorating,
Hmm.
there's a purpose to it, right? So it's
Hmm.
having all those colors, but you have to actually make them work. So it's using your existing stuff as well as say, okay, is there any new pieces, or it's working with you in a budget. And then I always like to say, how do you want your space to look and feel, say,
Hmm.
2 years or 5 years from now? Because
Right.
if you're in a tight budget, you might imagine yourself, okay, I would love to do like something a little bit more later on. So I
Hmm.
almost give them a plan for that too, because it could be just like, okay, buy a new sofa. Like so many people don't realize you can easily just get covers if you don't love your sofa or the look of it. And
Right.
they're so much
Yeah.
cheaper, but they can make it still look very fashionable and everything like that.
Hmm.
Or having accessories or even styling everything that you have already because people don't realize it. They just kind of put it together, but sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And
Yeah.
it's just making those tweaks.
Yeah.
Um, I even helped a person that just gave up her apartment in Montreal, helped her downsize, and is even decluttering. So, what is
Yes.
important to you? Move it all to Toronto and then set it up into her retirement condo.
Hmm.
So, she's this beautiful 95 vibrant year old woman that
Wow.
still has life in her. But, you know, she was scared to come to Toronto. She's with her family, her girls,
Hmm.
but she had to leave a lot behind, right? So I spent the whole day with her basically and I had her talk to me and just even tell me her stories because
Hmm.
honestly, everything that she has matters to her. So
Right.
it's
Yeah.
creating that story and how do you wake up, making sure that she feels great in her space, and
Hmm.
then she has that everything that matters to her, but it's like enfolded into her whole condo. So it's creating different zones, creating different color blocks, and
Hmm.
having it all make sense. And it makes sense to her. And
Right.
having those special pieces really front and center for her. So she just absolutely loved it.
That's
And
great.
it made me feel so good, right? Like it's helping
Hmm.
others and it's utilizing what you have. It
Yeah.
doesn't mean you have to start and buy everything new. It's just like, hey,
Exactly.
sometimes it's your layout. Sometimes it's just like, okay, can we just make it centered a little bit, creating that focal point or
Hmm.
changing your pictures, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
It, I always suggest people to shop in your own home when it comes to like doing something a little different to upgrade it.
Right.
So
Well,
sometimes,
and she's 95, so I'm sure she has a lot of stuff. I mean, I
yeah,
have a lot of stuff, and
yeah,
sometimes, it's like, okay, I do not want to buy anything anymore. I'll just
yeah,
repurpose what I've got. Yeah.
yeah,
And you create your happy space.
yeah. But
Yeah.
it's so true. And it's
Yeah.
figuring out how to do it because a lot of people don't know. Like
Hmm.
decluttering is hard for people because they're so
Yes.
attached to a lot of different things.
It's stuff.
But
Yeah.
when you have too much stuff, it creates anxiety, and people don't realize how much that affects you. So it
That's so
affects your
true.
mood, your mindset, and even your productivity. Because
Hmm.
we almost everybody had to work from home
Hmm.
during the pandemic, they really realize how important their space is. So
Yes.
it's now thinking about how do I change it up a little bit and how do I make it feel better for me. It's like even people creating their workspace, right? Like
Hmm.
there's some of them are still challenged by it because now they're working permanently from home. They had a
Right.
mindset saying it'll only be a year or two, but then I'll go back to the office.
Right.
Now people are not getting that. I remember even trying to find a chair for my home. I couldn't
Hmm.
even get one because they were all sold out. I had to go to
Right.
Staples and take whatever was left. It was
Yeah.
horrible. My back hurt. It was just an eyesore where I live and everything like
Hmm.
that because I have a big open space. And then finally I found something, but it wasn't a ergonomic type chair because I didn't want to have like something on wheels that was just an eyesore. And it
Right.
was more of a dining room chair, but it had all the support of your neck, back, and everything like that, but still was
Hmm.
stylish for my needs.
Yeah.
So it's just finding what works for you too. And people don't realize to think outside of the box. And it's just that's what we
Yeah.
kind of need to do now because
It's
it's
true. Yeah.
inspiring your own space and action. And
Hmm.
I think it really has an effect on how we feel and our what we do, honestly, every
Yeah.
day. If you don't like the space you're in, more times than not, ask yourself, are you happy? Are you happy in that space? Or
Hmm.
do you smile? Because a lot of times we don't. We don't even
Right.
realize it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So I even had to maximize my space because again, very small space. I live in a
Hmm.
450 square foot apartment.
Wow.
I use it instead of buying the condo, I invested in me. I even did like my life certificate, my life coaching certificate, because
Okay. Yeah.
believe it or not, I've had a lot of people that are on their second life. So whether they are
Me.
in, yeah, me too, right? Like a committed relationship that's new and merging all their stuff together and
Hmm.
creating that special space and saying, okay, what can I keep? What can I keep? And then buy new and stuff of that. But
Yeah.
merging the, the tastes and styles of two different people, right?
Hmm.
And I think my life coaching helps not for me to say this is what you should do, is bringing those questions and how to compromise and everything like that, and
Right.
what's important to each one of them, and see how we can create that space together, because all it is me creating a space that makes you happy, not
Right.
what I
Yeah.
think it should be, right?
Right. Because
And that's
everybody's taste
where,
is different.
yeah,
Yeah.
and that's where I like to really work with my clients. And it's
Hmm.
like I get to know them quite well and everything like that. I have a questionnaire. It's like
Hmm.
20 questions, and it's just truly digging deep into thinking, okay, what really matters to them, and what do they light
Exactly.
up, and what
Yeah.
do they not like? And then I take them typically shopping. Sometimes I've done it online. Sometimes
Hmm.
we go to the stores. And because people think they know their taste, but until they actually go to a store and sit on it, like if you're buying a new couch, like
Right.
you've got to
Yes.
realize you might think you like modern, but maybe you don't like the low profile it gives you because you have a bad back, or
Yeah.
hey, certain leathers you like, but certain like you don't like certain patterns or something,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And a lot of times people don't realize how something happened in their childhood, like whether they hate a green or something like that, because
Right.
something happened way back when. I
Yeah.
personally wouldn't know that until we're starting that process and realize, because I'll do like a rendering for them to say, here's what I see your space based on, all the information and
Hmm.
our um, time we spent together,
Hmm.
shopping and everything like that, because really that's how you really find their true style. Because it's
Right.
usually a mixture of a couple, right? Like
Hmm.
nobody says, hey, I'm a minimalist and I just like Scandinavian style and that's it. Some people
Right.
are like that, but most people merge.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's eclectic. Sometimes it's like more country. Sometimes it's like a modern, but it's warm and inviting.
Hmm.
Like, so it's finding that muse that, helps everybody out.
I say, do you find that people get influenced by all those shows on HGTV?
Yeah.
Um, People might pick up on that and want what they're seeing, not
Yeah.
what emotionally is good for them.
Yes. And I think it's recognizing that too, because when they say, hey, I like this, and that, I always say, why? What about
Mm.
it is
Yeah.
that you like, right? So then they usually pick either color, maybe a piece of furniture, or how does
Mm.
it make them feel? And then I dive deeper into how it makes you feel, and
Hmm.
then we build a color story from there. It's not about copying what you see, but it's how do you create that feeling for you? And
Right.
maybe it's utilizing that with what you have. And then
Hmm.
it's like, I always ask, like, what do you like about your space and what do you dislike? What would you change?
Hmm.
And if you had like I don't know, if you had all the money in the world, what would you make? Like most people will say, okay, I would have this type of style and everything like
Yeah.
that. But we
Yeah.
don't have like millions of dollars to create what we want
Hmm.
exactly. So it's like, okay, how do we just make it so, you don't have money for renovations or anything like that,
Hmm.
but it's just, I don't know, just changing up their space to make it feel more appealing to them and just
Yeah.
be inspired for them to feel great in their space, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Because people don't realize it doesn't really take a lot of work. And that's where, like, I love
Yeah.
shopping and finding pieces. I don't like shopping for me, especially
Yeah.
like clothes or anything like that. It's like, but I love shopping for furniture and
Hmm.
seeing what's new in design. Like the design show was just on the weekend, so I was there to see what's coming up and everything like
Yeah.
that, and just like, hey, how's that going to influence everybody? Because honestly, like Pantone colors, like a lot of times they're wild and wacky, so you
Hmm.
wouldn't necessarily paint your room, but you might have like that in a throw pillow or a throw
Right.
like just in something that's like an
Yeah.
accessory in your
About a
home,
focal
right?
wall, like just one
Yeah,
wall, right?
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. I always like to say, okay, and it's like where is it and everything like that. And it people don't realize even how important lighting is, right? And the color of your
Yes.
floor. Because you might
Hmm.
love terracotta, but you might have yellow floors with that, very like parquet old look, and it
Right.
would just clash, right?
Yeah.
Or if they have artificial lighting and it's a cold lighting, it doesn't mesh well with it. Or
Hmm.
sometimes it's just like, where do you face? Like, do you get enough daylight, right?
Right. Yeah.
North
Yeah.
facing makes everything look a little bit more warm, but that can change your color yellow.
Hmm.
Like for
Hmm.
me, I have like uh, a grayish in my overall colors, but a
Hmm.
focal wall is that warm gray. But in the daytime, it could look cream.
Right.
And for
Yes.
me, I don't want to be depressed in my color at home or anything like that. And it's
Hmm.
like, okay, it's making sure you don't do that, but making sure, hey, what does it look like throughout the day?
Yes.
And whenever you're picking a color, I would suggest making sure, okay, see it in sunlight, and if you can, see it when it's gray or raining or snowing, because
Hmm.
that has a huge impact. Because you might love it in the summer, but you might hate it in the winter, and people don't realize, hey, it could really affect it. So
It
it's
could.
figuring
Yeah.
out
You're
what
so
light,
right. I
yeah.
painted my whole house Wickham gray
Oh yeah,
and
beautiful color.
so in some rooms it looks like beautiful gray and some rooms it
Yep,
looks like a green.
yep,
But I don't mind it because I like that
yeah,
different kind of look. But
yep,
I just repainted the powder room, and like you said, it's amazing. Like just what a little can of paint does to a
yeah,
room. It just
yeah,
transformed the whole thing. And
yeah.
every time I walk in there, I feel like I'm walking in there for the first time all the time, and it
See?
makes me so like it's like, oh, I love this powder room. It's
Yeah.
yeah
And I
that
can tell you love the color because you're smiling and you light
yeah
up every time you think about it. And that's what I want from my clients, to
yeah.
help them feel really amazing in it. And literally, it doesn't take much. And it's just like,
Mm-mm.
okay, $100 worth of paint or something like that. And
Mhm.
it's like their time, like honestly. And the experience of doing it, if they like the paint, is awesome because it's
Mhm.
very therapeutic. I personally like to paint.
Yes.
Sometimes, depending on like all the stuff in there, you just have to rearrange and everything like that.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it's loving the journey too, because I love the end result, but it's actually
Hmm.
having fun within it. And that's what makes a difference. Because I
Yeah.
have online clients where I help people like in Vancouver and
Hmm.
Victoria versus Toronto and everything like that.
Yeah.
And it's like even picking out a paint color, because that's like a hard thing to do, because Wickham Gray does have a lot of green undertones to it.
Hmm.
And it's realizing that, and it's like, okay, most people like didn't realize how gray isn't gray. There's
Right.
blue, purple, red, yellow, and green undertones.
I
And
don't
the
get it, but
yeah, and it depends. Like I had I have a small bathroom, and I had a moonshine, which was like yours, a very
Mhm.
green undertone, but
Mhm.
it's gray. I had like these looking basically tumbler and the soap dish and everything
Mhm.
like that,
Mhm.
but it had a green undertone. So you don't realize it until you place it with green that, hey, it's not the color I thought it was. And it's
Right.
just playing up and making sure, hey, does it go with it or is it going to clash?
Hmm.
I rent it and I'm just renting, and I had like just beautiful white tiles in my bathroom. And then all of a
Hmm.
sudden they decided, let me redo your bathtub and tile around. No more white or anything like
Oh,
that. And it was like a pinky terracotta. And then everything just did not go
right.
together. So I had to
Yeah.
redo it. But I really liked those warm gray and green undertone dishes
Hmm.
because it came from Restoration Hardware, but I had a fun time picking them out, and I still remember why I bought them and everything like that. So
Hmm.
those were still my inspiration. But then getting a paint color was very hard because I thought I live, and it's a very tiny um, bathroom,
Hmm.
but I ended up painting it very dark. And because it doesn't look small, because I have white toilet, bathtub, and everything, that it
Right.
had big reflections of it. So people think, oh, I can't paint anything dark, but that's not true. It all depends what's reflecting, right? Do you have
Right.
mirrors? Do you have
Yeah.
light furniture and stuff?
Yeah.
And it's just making it work from there.
Right. And
So,
how
and
much
then,
wall space? Like the wall
yeah,
space can't be that big in a small bathroom because
no,
right, you've got
yeah,
everything else in there.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and some people don't realize it's great to paint your bath room ceiling the same color as your just
Right.
paint, and even any room. It all
Hmm.
depends how tall, how much light, and what kind of furniture do you have, right?
Right.
And it's how do you want it to feel? Because sometimes it's jarring when you do have a very light ceiling and dark walls and stuff like
Hmm.
that.
Hmm.
So sometimes it's nice to put dark on the ceiling and people don't realize it. Or what
Right.
I love to do, and it all depends on your home, is painting your doors, interior doors, a dark color and having a light
Yeah.
walls.
I've
See, I
seen
love
that
that
done.
look.
It's stunning. I don't
Yeah.
know if I could do that or,
Yeah.
but
Yep.
yeah, it
But
is stunning.
yeah, it all depends on your ceiling heights and it's just like, okay, on a hallway, is it long and everything like that? And
Hmm.
it's just having that envision. I always say if you are daring to do it, do it. And if you don't love it, you could always paint it back, right?
Yeah,
Like it's not
exactly.
that difficult. Like paint is the easiest way to transform your space.
Yes.
It
Yeah.
just, it's like a weekend project. And I always say, don't pick the color until you actually are sure. So,
Hmm.
and only pick three colors at a time. Or if you're going to have a spray of it, it's like, okay, use your gut to say, what do you like?
Yeah.
Because when you have too much colors, it's overwhelming and then you're lost, right? And it's
Yes.
going through
Yeah.
that process. And that's how I always like, I have a color consultation and it takes 4 hours, like it's 4 sessions because
Yeah.
it's starting from, okay, how do you want your room to feel? And
Yeah.
I treat everybody the same. I need to get to know you. I need to get to know your space and everything like that
Mhm.
before we start working. And then it's just building that staircase and going through the steps. And then by the end of it, they love it.
I love it. It's
So,
it's a process. It's
yeah,
and it's taking, yeah, the person's emotional well-being in mind. I
yes,
love it. Yeah.
yeah. It's all about them and how they feel because it's creating that space to make them feel amazing in so they can
Mhm.
thrive. Because a lot of people just live and they think it's a lot of work to change it, so why bother?
Right.
And it matters, and it's literally
Mhm.
you don't need to take a long time. You can have fun with it. Like to me,
Absolutely. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
have fun with it, so I hope other
Yeah.
people have fun with it. Or if they don't like it, it's like then helping like someone like me to help them do it, or just get them like I'll just do
Mhm.
it type of thing.
Mhm.
Because right now I'm just trying to develop a digital course to help them create a space that they love through color. So the easiest
Mhm.
way is creating that cohesive look through whatever color that really lights them up and
Right.
going through those processes. So it's
Yeah.
taking how I deal with my clients and do it digitally. So that's like a big project that I'm working on, but it's then, gaining different clients too, just to help them.
Yeah.
So
So I am gonna have all the information, all of Vicky's website, Instagram. You can follow her on Instagram
yeah,
and all that information down below in the description so that, yeah, if anyone wants to connect with you, follow you.
yeah,
I follow you
I would love
too.
that.
And I think I mentioned to you that uh I guess you sparked my interest in decorating. I was always a big decorator. So to me, decorating made me happy and I loved it.
Yeah,
It was a passion of
yeah.
mine. And so, people would make fun of me and say, "Oh, what color are you painting this time?" Because, I would change everything because like you
Good
said,
for you.
a can of paint is the easiest,
Yeah,
change. Happy. So I had stopped it after a while. And then after looking at all your posts and we met, we
yeah,
took a course together
yeah.
and, you've been inspiring me. So I've been starting to do stuff, slowly myself as well, and I love, getting all your tips as well. So you've really helped me,
Oh, thank you.
yeah,
Makes me feel
yeah,
good.
yeah,
It
it's,
just makes
it's
you feel
great.
good when you have someone actually respond and just like inspire. Because
Yes,
that's all
yeah.
I would love to inspire people just to create. Like, honestly, it
You
makes a
do.
world of
I mean,
difference.
yeah, you do inspire people. Yeah. So, and I really like your story. You found yourself, I guess, re-envisioned your
Yeah,
life, and yeah, it's taking that time to take the time,
yeah. And you
because you
have
were
to
so busy.
Yeah, but you have to invest in yourself too, because I think
Mhm.
we're all worth it. And it's scary. Like it's scary to do something new and get out of your comfort zone.
It
Because
is,
I
yeah.
used to be in marketing, but it was to me, I believe in the power, law of attraction, and the power of the universe. The
Hmm.
universe didn't want me in that space anymore. And it took me a while to realize and accept it. And then once I accepted it, things started to unravel, and you envision a different life. And it's just
Yeah,
taking that chance on yourself, honestly, and thinking, okay, how can I make it? How do I start? Like,
right.
and you start small and just utilize your resources and everything like that. And yeah, and just trying to make these connections and get
Hmm.
yourself
Hmm.
known because um, I don't know, there's a big world out there, and I think
Huge.
there's an
Yeah.
opportunity for everybody if you just step back and think about what are you really passionate about, right?
Right.
And
Yeah.
I think if you're passionate about and love what you're doing, things typically will work out. If it doesn't work out, then you have to start to think, okay, what things do I need to change, or how can
Yeah.
I
Reevaluate.
yeah, like,
Yeah.
and it's even being having the courage to experiment, right?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And,
And I miss like different lifestyles, but I'm getting it back, right? Because at
mhm.
the end of the day, when I was stuck, I literally had five part-time jobs where I was juggling and everything like that. And I was working 7 days a week and I was
Right.
working these crazy hours. Then I thought, okay, I got that marketing job. Okay, I'll be set. And then
Hmm.
that didn't work out. And it's like, okay, now what am I doing? And it was hard. Like your
Yeah.
mindset takes a beating out of stuff like that. But I find it was fortunate for me because I actually found myself again. Because I used to have my gut instincts, and I was very confident in my younger years, and then
Mhm.
some this
Something happens. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, and you don't realize that, hey, you became this other person. Like
Yeah.
I don't like feeling negative. I've turned that all around.
Hmm.
And I did that like years ago. Like
Yeah.
honestly, at the beginning of 2000s, it wasn't like what I liked, who I used to be and what
Yeah.
I want to
Yeah.
be, right?
Yeah.
So it's even thinking about that, and it's always thinking about, okay, like attracts like. If you're positive, you get many different positive energies
Hmm. Hmm.
towards you and different opportunities.
Yes.
Like I just got someone today reaching out to me because they liked my post, but she wants to paint me and everything like that. And it's like I even have to evaluate that kind of thing, thinking, huh, that's like someone is inspired because they just saw a picture of me and stuff
Yes,
like
you
that.
never
So
know who you're going to reach and how many people you're going
yeah,
to reach,
yeah,
in this, social media world.
yeah,
Yeah, but it's a universe. Like you wouldn't be where you are today. I always say you wouldn't be where you are today if you hadn't gone through all that, all those
it's true.
experiences. And so
Yeah,
the universe was probably kind of hinting at you, and you thought, no, I have to get a job. I have to get a job, and then
yeah,
finally you trusted the
yeah,
process, and that I think comes through self-development, finding yourself. You
yeah,
just you surrender,
yeah,
and you're open to all those opportunities, like you said.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I'm excited to see how everything will unfold. And
Hmm.
I'm flexible enough to say, okay, maybe it's not exactly how I envisioned or anything that, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Maybe it's different. Like I don't know exactly how my life will turn out in the next 5 years,
Yeah.
but I'm willing to go through it and say, hey, maybe I'll move. Maybe it's like an online business. Maybe
Hmm.
it's a YouTube business. Like I have no idea. So
Right.
like I'm even revamping my YouTube channel and everything that
Hmm.
you've inspired me because
Oh,
it's
thank
literally
you.
how to make that work. And it's a
Right.
lot of work for
It's a
anybody who
lot of
doesn't
work,
realize.
but
But yeah, and it's just having that vision of, and courage. I think
yes.
everybody needs the courage and believe in yourself, even if it's
Hmm.
just small and inspired actions that you can do to improve your life every day. And for
Absolutely.
me, it's through like more design and everything like that it is my contribution, I think, to the world and everything like that, and helping others feel good about their space. You take the personal approach and everything, and it's making their
Hmm.
inner self feel great. So I
Hmm.
think it really works together.
It
Like
does.
it really is a good harmonious type of feeling when you work yourself inside as well as
Yes.
outside your environment. So
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, thanks so much. And, I was going to just add about, you don't know where, how you're going to get somewhere or what's going to
Nope.
happen next, but life isn't the straight line journey. It kind of, has twists and turns, and,
Yeah.
it's just enjoying the process, trusting the process, because we'll
Yep.
get where we need to get to. It
Yep.
might not be, the way we think even, but we'll get there. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's so important to have your inner self-awareness,
Yep.
and then, your environment plays such an important role in that as well. Um, Love where you sit, even if, you're just having dinner, watching TV, reading a book. This is my office. You can see my cat.
Yeah.
It's not my cat, it's
Yes.
my daughter's cat. He
Aw.
loves being in here when I develop my content. I think he
Love
finds it
it.
relaxing.
You could tell because the paws are up.
Yeah. But anyway, thank you so much. You gave
Oh,
us so
thank
much
you.
information, that that we can put to practical use. Check out,
Yeah.
your website is amazing. I was on there just 2 minutes ago, like before our session.
Thanks.
Check Vicky's website out. I'm going to list all her contact information and get in touch with her because
Wonderful.
you're amazing. I
Yeah.
love your
Oh,
style. I really love your
oh,
style. So yeah,
well,
thank you
I love
so
your
much
style too.
again
Well,
for
no worries.
chatting with me. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, thank
well,
you so much for inviting me. It was a lot of
thank
fun.
you. Thank you. And thank you for
Yes.
watching. All right.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thanks so much. Bye
Bye.
bye.